3SFX presents the Indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Indoob podcast, where drive time meets late night talk show, as we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. We're recording live from Little New Indoobia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive. And Kortney, how you doing?
I am doing so good. How are you?
I am doing well. I've just recovered from like an illness or a sickness or a cold, whatever you want to call it. It's mostly gone, and now I'm going to be talking for at least the next hour or so, and just what the voice needs when it's still, I guess, in recovery mode. I don't know.
Yep, just push it to its limits.
Right. Maybe I'll calm down. I'll get into like soft, like, I'm trying to think of like a quiet storm kind of thing.
Quiet storm, yeah. Get nice and low, nice and sexy.
I'm trying to drop it an octave, and I can't, because then you won't hear me at all right now. So that just proves that my voice is not at 100%, because I could nope, it's almost there. Oh, good evening, ladies. Nope, can't do it. Never mind. We're just gonna move on. Yeah, you're good. You just came back from holiday. That's what I've been calling it. What is it? A little bit of a getaway vacation? Why are you so well? Today is your buffer day.
Yes.
I'm just throwing a whole bunch of information out.
You are. That's fine. No, I love it. So me and Daniel went to Eureka Springs this weekend. It was kind of there was a reason. Like, he is getting ready to start a new job, and so he has some time off, and we're just like, well, this is perfect. We can, go somewhere out of town. And so we're trying to figure out a place where we could go, because he had asked me to take off time so like we could hang out together. I was like, that's a perfect idea. So I did, and we wanted to go somewhere that, so we could do stuff, but not go somewhere where we always go. But we couldn't go too far, because, it gets more expensive the farther you go sometimes.
Very true. Yes.
So anyway, we decided on Eureka Springs and had the best time ever. Stayed in the cutest Airbnb, which was almost like a studio apartment, except it was like a little cottage. So a structure that stood on its own, no surrounding rooms or anything like that. And the best part is that it was down in the downtown area. Now, Eureka Springs is tiny, so I say downtown. It is with in the perspective that it is the town's downtown. Not very big, but very happening. And
so if this was a town that had like maybe a few stoplights, this was the place where the stoplights were.
Yes. Yes. So the rest of the non-downtown area is fine. In fact, we did have to, in order to go to this one restaurant we wanted to go to, we had to get in the car to drive there, but it's still a tiny, tiny, tiny town, but it's also very hilly. It's called it used to be referred to as the stair step town, literally, because it's on a mountain and it's curvy and windy, and you climb stairs, or you go up inclines, go down inclines to get to where you need to go. So
sounds
it's
like Waterbury, Connecticut.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
Well, Eureka Springs is a very I can't say square footage, but the surface. No, that's not right either. The whole area of it is not a whole lot, but they have packed so much stuff in there. And so, but it really made the difference to be able to walk to the majority of everything we wanted to go to, because parking is kind of not great. And if we were to park, there's parking lots and stuff, but there was an event this weekend, so there was probably more people in town, which means parking would have been a little harder. Plus, you got to pay to park. So we really had the best of both worlds, where we could, like I said, walk to everywhere we wanted to go. If we had a later night, we didn't have to worry about driving. to get back to the place. We could just walk there. Um, so it was perfect. So we ate, we drank, we shopped, we walked everywhere. It was just really good. It's really good.
Hmm,
Um,
that's
so yeah,
good. I mean,
we
I
needed
didn't know
we
that.
needed the
I'm sorry.
vacation plus no, I'm just saying we needed the vacation just to hang out together. Plus, it is a bit of a celebration because Daniel is, starting a new chapter and it's exciting and it's just kind of his version of a buffer, between
Mm-hmm.
jobs. So,
That's good, and that's necessary. I don't recall if I've actually done that before I left like the hospital and going to Espen. And I
hmm
know I did have that week off. I don't think we went anywhere or did anything, but it was just nice not to
hmm
go anywhere or be in demand.
hmm yeah,
So that was nice. You
yes,
did send me pictures, which I first of all I didn't know it was an Airbnb. So
mm,
that's cool. And it doesn't sound like you had to deal with your hosts at all, like, them being there or in the building
yeah,
because it was only just the one room. And
hmm
I mean, I mentioned all of that because that was exactly what happened with our honeymoon, where the host was there. She stayed upstairs. I mean, bless her heart, she was great. She was a very
yeah,
great hostess, very accommodating, but it was just weird because we knew she was there and we didn't want to like disturb her, even though like yeah, it was just weird.
yeah.
But
I mean, and
yeah.
that's one of the reasons. So Daniel kind of took the lead on that, on finding a place to stay. And also, this is kind of a last minute, like, here's an idea, let's figure it out in 24 hours type of situation.
Hmm.
Like I booked the room on a Friday and we checked in on Saturday, something like that. So,
Wow.
um,
Hmm.
it was a fortunate find. Um, but also just like we decided to go for it and went for it type of situation. So, I mean, we had been talking about it, but we didn't have to actually make the plan and the decision and take action until probably that Friday. But this is also one of the reasons we chose and decided on what we chose is because we didn't want to have to interact with anyone. Actually, just about every Airbnb that I've done, I didn't have to interact with anyone. It's always been a freestanding something. I guess that's just what I prefer. Like I don't want to do an
Hmm.
apartment. I don't want to do a house that I have to that there's like you're just renting a room. Um, that I've never wanted to do that. And so I've always been able to find something like what we had this weekend. Including I've even stayed, it was on the owner's property. In fact, like the parking spot was in their, under their carport, which was close to their front door. But there
Hmm.
was like a walkway, like it was kind of, the main house was kind of up on a hill. And then you walk down to get to it was just like a little, almost like a little beach house, but like a tiny, tiny little room with just a bed, a little kitchenette, a deck, and that's it, or in the bathroom, of course.
Hmm.
But that's the closest I've ever been to an owner. But see, we didn't even sleep in the same like area. We just had to park the car. But yeah, I typically when I travel, I want to not deal with anyone, like
That,
sleeping wise and stuff. So yeah,
right, right. I mean, I'm glad you were able to continue this streak and hopefully you never encounter the person like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you and we were never supposed to meet. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that is I've only been to one Airbnb, and so far that's been my experience. So I'm like,
Gotcha.
let's do hotels. But hey, I'm open to making sure that that is not something that will happen, so I don't have to worry
hmm
about disturbing my host, I guess. Just,
hmm
because I
hmm
or just running into them like, oh, I didn't see you there, or yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was all good. Like I said, she was really nice. We ended up having like a really good conversation when we were leaving, but
Yeah.
still, it was just, yeah, I just like to have that, like you. I don't want to see anybody. So,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
or
Don't
know that
keep
you're
it.
there or
Nope.
creeping around in
Yep.
the middle of the night, which is exactly what was
Mm-mm.
happening. Because
No.
at
Ugh.
well, her son was going off and had to go catch the bus or something, or get on a bus. I don't know, but the bus, they
Mm-hmm.
had to leave at like 3 a.m. for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
yeah, so it was a whole thing, and we kind of knew when they left, and then knew when they got back, or when she got back. I don't know, but it was just yeah, because we just couldn't wait to go off
yeah.
and do things, so we weren't
Mm-hmm.
around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm glad
Completely
glad you had a good
understand.
time. Hmm.
Yes.
You did text me some pictures of like some pretty buildings, which I was like, oh, is that where you're staying? Is that where you're staying? But they were not where you're staying at all. It was more pictures of
No.
downtown. However,
And I did take a picture that I will send to you. It was the actual cottage because I was like, I don't have a picture of the cottage, and I don't want to be able to. I mean, I don't want to have to hunt this thing down whenever I want to think about the
pick
awesome
up.
weekend, you know?
Right, 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 right. So yeah, please share that along. But the more important question, because with all the things that you did send me, you sent me an interesting cocktail that was an original creation from the bartender, which I keep
Hmm.
like every other bartender. I kind of, not that I see a lot of them. I just went back once you told me that this bartender created his own drink. I just
Hmm.
kind of rolled back the few handful of times that I've been to a bar or even to like a Ruby Tuesdays. And like the
Hmm.
bartender there was like, yeah, this is a drink I made up. Try it. So,
Yep.
I, yeah, so that was cool. But no, we need to talk about the salmon that you had, the questionable green veggies that
Mm.
are laid on top of, which you're saying is broccoli, and
Hmm.
this sauce. I'm curious of what the sauce is because I'm always trying to find a good sauce to go with my salmon. So, what
Hmm.
was this sauce?
So they told me, and I literally don't know. So and there is another guy, I guess he worked there. Maybe he was a cook because he seemed to understand how to make it and how to like ruin it as well. And so
Hmm.
so it's just some sort of buttery, creamy sauce that, yeah, I definitely, if like the sauce itself was kind of drizzled on top of the veggies and on top of the salmon, and like you know how when you take a bite of something or when you cut into something, sometimes like not all sides of that something are covered in the sauce. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
made sure that every bite was covered in this sauce because it was so good and it was so rich. um I can't tell you what the sauce was because I don't know, but it was delicious. The mushrooms on the side, I do love my mushrooms. I made
Gross.
sure to eat everything on this plate, mind you, but like dipping the mushrooms further into the sauce. And honestly, I thought the broccoli was asparagus as well, but taking a bite of it, I'm like, no, this is broccoli. It's just like that long. I mean, because you could see even the trees, the leaves
Mm-hmm.
on top of the trees. So it's broccoli. Um,
I mean,
and
clearly
I was,
you would know it was your plate. So you after you ate the salmon, you saw what was left over, and like, okay, those are
uh-huh,
those are broccolis, or maybe they're stretched out broccolis, spaghetti broccoli. It's a new vegetable that they're working out. So,
sure, sure.
um, and you did notice I ignored the mushrooms, and I might
I
even go
noticed.
back and edit this and just erase
Wow,
you talking
wow.
about the mushrooms because
Literally, don't
no,
erase me talking about the mushrooms because
we don't acknowledge
that's
the
not
fungus
fair.
here, the fungus
Mm.
among us. We
Stop being such
no,
a baby.
we don't
It's
do that here.
good and it's
No,
good
no,
for
no.
you. Mm,
It's gross.
mm,
It just pops
childish.
out of nowhere. Did you say it's garbage? Yes, I agree with you. Yes, thank you. We're on the same page. Now, this buttery,
Wow.
creamy sauce, you said it was rich. Like, did you get any hints of anything else? Because it's something it is really hard because I'm like, I'm going to try to recreate this, but I can't recreate something that I've never tasted. So
No,
I don't
I don't
know, but
know.
maybe I'll
I'm
Google it.
well, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to look it up on the menu, like online, but
Hmm.
I can't guarantee, because it's a small, all of those are just local restaurants. And so I'm sure they're subject to change their menu every now and then or add to
Mm,
it or whatever. So it's possible that this thing is not even on the menu. But I'm gonna look it
hmm.
up and I will report back to you what I find.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good to me. I mean, this is a small little town, like you said. It's got, one street light, so maybe it doesn't have their own website, so that's fine. But we will, move along. I do have a question for you. This has nothing to do with salmon or your holiday away. However, it is something
Hmm.
that happened this past weekend where there's a movie that has been breaking all of the records everywhere. It's a legit uh blockbuster, and
Hmm.
I have not watched it yet. But what I'm really curious about at this particular moment is how you pronounce blank and Luigi. So,
Mario.
uh, Mario, okay, I say it the same way. I was
Mario.
listening to,
Not
oh,
Mario.
that's what I was hearing. Mario.
No,
Like,
wrong.
ugh. It, I
Lies.
I internally shudder because I'm like, why are you saying it like that? Like Mary. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me that people pronounce it that way. And I was listening to a podcast about stocks and such and whatever. And they were talking about how big this movie is and how, important it is to like even Nintendo stock went up like 6% because this movie was doing so well.
Oh,
But they
wow.
kept pronouncing it the Mario Brothers. I'm like, oh my God, I just
What?
wanted to cringe. Yes.
Ugh, ugh,
Yes.
that's terrible.
So
Terrible.
I was so bothered by this, and now I need to go ask more people like how do you say this word? Like, because it's easier that way, or I can do what I did for you and like, fill in the blank. How do you pronounce it?
Hmm.
And then I know whether or not to like invite them to a function or not because like, I can't. Like I won't speak to you
Hmm.
anymore because how dare you? Why? Why would yes. I have not seen
You
the film
know,
itself, but
I
yeah.
haven't either. I'm waiting to take the kids to see it because we wanted to take them to see it in 3D. And it just when it came out, it was like in the middle of a school week, and but I will say that Mario Lopez, I've heard them pronounce his name Mario, and I don't know
Mm.
how he chooses to pronounce it, but that really makes a difference because if he
It
says
yes.
Mario, I think I'm gonna have to, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to not stand for him. Or it's not like I stand for him a whole lot to begin with, but we can't be friends anymore or something, you know?
So you mean you're going to like disconnect from him
Disown,
because of
yes,
how he pronounces his own name?
his own name. Yes,
Hmm.
you heard correctly.
Okay. So I mean if I were to suddenly start using my first name and start saying you can pronounce it Tyrell, which is not how it's pronounced, which actually isn't like a huge bother to me, honestly, personally. But I mean, mm, there
I
are other
just
people
feel
around me that
like
will correct.
I just feel like Mario is wrong.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like the singer, he pronounces it Mario too. Doesn't he
Does
Mario?
he?
I think so. Didn't the singer's name?
I would have to. I need to go like specifically Google like people announcing like coming to the stage, Mario Lopez, and then yeah, because Mario has that kind of almost like a
I'm talking about the
sing-songiness to it, like it's a
I'm talking about the hip hop singer.
the singer. Right, right. Yeah, I had to throw in a last name. Mary. I know you're
Gotcha.
talking about Mario, the singer, the R&B crooner
Yeah. Yeah.
of song fame that I can't think of any
Let me
songs that he
love you.
sings.
I think he
Yes,
sings
there's
that
one.
song. Yeah.
He does sing that song.
I'll
I
be
can't
on
name any
it.
other more.
That's me either. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but I do need to kind of Google now just to see if I can like find some award show or some kind of concert where someone announces him and how they pronounce his name, or maybe there's some kind of show where he's like, I'm debuting myself for the first time. My name is Mario, and then I'm like, ooh, no more. This is why like we don't listen to you today because of how you say your name. So I can't. I don't like it.
I don't like
And you
it.
know
I,
what?
I don't like
Uh,
it.
and I haven't seen the movie, but I do intend to. I did hear from a trusted source they didn't quite care for it because of the writing on it. And I was waiting for my brother-in-law to see it, which I think he's actually going to see it tonight as we record. So I'll have to get
Hmm.
his views on it because he is like the Mario is how it's
Hmm.
pronounced, the Mario
Hmm.
enthusiast. So if he says it's good, then I believe it's good without even me having to see it. But I do still want to see it. I'm gonna take the little one with me to go see it, and then Hopefully, no one in the movie also calls him Mario because then I just might have to just get up and leave. I'm like, that's it. I can't watch this movie anymore. I can't do it. Nope. Among other reasons, but yeah,
I mean,
one of them. Hmm?
have you heard the phrase, "It's a me, Mario"?
I have.
Mario.
I feel like that's borderline racist, but yes, I have heard that phrase.
It is
And
borderline racist, but that's what he says. He pronounces it
it,
Mario.
he does. He does. Like um I was gonna say hard R, but it's like a hard A, or is that a soft A?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, I feel like between the two of us being writers and word enthusiasts, and we should know like what a hard A and a soft A sound like. But there's those parts of English that I just never really clung to. I just learned
Mm-hmm.
what rules I can bend or break. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's where you know, that's where I left off.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, the obvious thing that most people, when this movie was first announced, had an issue with was Chris Pratt being Mario. I was,
Oh yeah, he is, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, and I'll just put it out
Everybody
there.
else was available though.
That's the thing. Anybody else could have played this role, and I really don't want to sound like I'm knocking Chris Pratt because I don't have a problem with him. I just had a problem with him being in everything. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
share the love. I know this is your time to shine, but can you let some other people shine too? Like, and I decided to do another quick little Google just to see
Mm-hmm.
if there was any other Italian actors that are, that are hot today, that are on a streak. And
Mm-hmm.
the first one that came up that was in the same bracket that had that bankability, Bradley Cooper. I you
Really?
know, yeah.
Hmm.
First of all, I didn't know he was Italian. And second, I'm like, you know what? I'd like to hear him try a Mario accent or, just given that
Yeah.
Mario his, that plumber spunk or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Interesting.
just a thought. I'm like, and it's like, again, I'm not knocking Chris Pratt, but like I kind of am a little bit because, as you said, there are other actors out there. We could search, find somebody, maybe make him Hispanic, maybe actually get Mario Lopez. I don't know. That seems like a good fit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna still like watch the movie. But I don't know, not, we'll see. I'm gonna reserve judgment and just go watch the movie, have a good time in 3D, and it'll be fun.
Okay. I agree with you. I think that's the best plan. And then we'll reconvene should we deem it necessary. And you, dear listener, if you actually do want us to come back and talk about the movie, get down to the nitty-gritty, all the Easter eggs, which I have not watched any videos yet just to see like, hey, what's out there? I think I did watch one, and it was interesting the way that this guy talked about the movie because he didn't really give his opinion on if he liked it or not. And it just seemed like I was really trying to read him to see if like, did you like the movie? And it's hard to tell, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But we'll move on from that. We'll move on. Um, I did promise two Black History facts for today because of my I don't want to call it neglect. It was just that there was a lot going on, and I couldn't quite pin down a Black History fact that I liked and felt worth sharing with the world. So today I found two
Black History.
Black History.
Black History. Black History. Facts.
And right now, if I can just find where those websites are, because I don't want to lose them again. Was this intended to be read today? Yes, because we have Sheboygan news too, but we're not doing that yet. So, today we're going to talk about Dr. Charles Drew. You familiar with this name at all?
Charles Drew?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Let's see. I'll skip that one there. Let's see. Dr. Charles Drew. No, I just want to get to. Okay. Drew was a famous physician, surgeon, and medical researcher who almost said exiled, who excelled in the area of blood transfusions. On October 1st, 1940, Dr. Drew was named as the supervisor for Great Britain's Blood Plasma Project. There was a great need for blood plasma to help in the life-saving medical efforts going on with World War II in Europe. Drew was recruited to, I'm going to say Dr. Drew, it sounds so informal that way. Dr. Drew was recruited to organize and administer a pioneering program in the storage and preservation of blood. The project was based in New York to recruit Americans to give blood to help soldiers and civilians in Great Britain. The program acquired, tested, stored, and properly shipped blood from approximately 15,000 people over a 5-month period. The project was applauded as being very successful. I would say so. Dr. Drew is also credited in improving methods of blood storage, which aided in creating massive scale blood banks during World War II, which led to saving the lives of thousands of American soldiers. In 1941, Dr. Drew's research helped establish the American Red Cross Blood Bank.
Oh, wow.
So
nice.
Is Dr. Charles Drew. So I'm like, oh, wow, life-saving Black folk, because we're amazing like that. And now for your
that is awesome.
second, yes, it is. Second Black history fact is, where did you go? Okay, so there was 2 of them that I came across. One of them I feel like I definitely said before, but maybe I'll save it for next episode, because why not? I realized that, you never know. Even if I do say a particular or talk about a particular figure in history, and maybe I forgot, it's possible our dear listeners have forgotten too, or maybe they just came in later and didn't hear me talk about it the first time. So I'm putting that out there now. So in case I do repeat something that I have talked about before, then, and it's possible that I may have forgotten that I talked about it. We're just going to go with it. But this person I'm pretty sure I did not talk about before. His name is Granville T. Woods.
All right.
Familiarity? Nothing?
I'm not. Nope.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So, one of the leading inventors of the 19th century and early 20th century, Granville T. Woods patented on April 7th, 1885. Sorry, I just had to give it that oldness. So, yeah. An apparatus for transmission of messages by using electricity. I got scared for a second because I thought this had to do with more blood transfusions. I'm like, wait, that's not what you're supposed to be about. But yeah, just me misreading. Woods often described as I'm putting this in quotes because this is how it's written, the Black Edison. Actually, he won twice in court defending his inventions from claims by Thomas Edison. Woods patented more than 50 inventions, including the synchronous multiplex railway telegraph. Ooh, that was a mouthful, which enabled communication between train stations from moving trains. This system completely changed the operation of the railway system, saving perhaps thousands of lives by allowing trains to communicate with each other while moving on the rails. Woods sold his telegraphone invention.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I was going to try to help, but you got it.
Yes. Because I did practice this. I reread it like in the car to myself out loud. I'm like, okay, nailed it. And here we are. Wood sold his telegraphone. You see, now it sounds weird. Invention, which was a system in which a telegraph station could use a single wire to send messages by voice and telegraph to American Bell Telephone Company. He sold many of his inventions to General Electric, American Engineering, and Westinghouse. Woods was born on April 23rd, 1856 in Columbus, Ohio, and died on January 30th, day after my birthday, in 1910. Yes, I was born in 1910.
Yep, I knew it.
See, I wasn't supposed to say that much, but I did, and here we are. So, I mean, we both knew, like you and I, we are old people, but now a little bit more of my age. Hey, You were just telling me the other day about something about being old. I don't remember specifics. I just knew that it had to do with the both of us being old. And I said that we'll be like, we were already old. There was at one point in our life, you were knitting and I was watching Turner Classic Movies, like just old black and white movies.
Hmm.
So old. And we've been old for years now.
Since
Just,
we were youngins.
just young whippersnappers and just came out just ready to be ornery, basically. So there
Hmm.
you have it, your two black folks or black history facts, basically. Not just two black folks, but two black history facts. Just people just making life better back then for us to be great now, because blood transfusion saves lives and being able to communicate with fast moving vehicles changed lives. Although there's some things happening. I mean, ironically enough, out in Ohio, where trains probably would have done better if they communicated a little better, or probably just slowed down. But I'm not making light of the subject. I'm just saying that could have been avoided. But we will move on from that. Now, I do have some Sheboygan news for you.
Nice.
Good morning, Sheboygan.
Let's find my links again. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is actually sad Sheboygan news.
Oh,
I know. Let me just cut to the chase. No Sheboygan Brat Days in 2023.
no
So
Sheboygan Brat Days?
no Brat Days. There will
That
be no
sounds like
brats.
terrible news.
It is terrible. There will be no brats in any of these days in 2023. So I will read on. Sheboygan Brat Days will not take place in 2023. Organizers announced, wow, I don't know why I'm struggling with this word. Print is much bigger this time, at least. Organizers announced Monday, April 10th. The event is put on by the Sheboygan JCs. Shout out to them, whoever they are. In 2022, they announced they would be changing the format of the event. A post on social media said the 2023 cancellation is in correlation with last year's announcement that we are currently working to revamp the event. The Sheboygan JCs will continue to organize Brat Days. It is one of their largest fundraising projects. Proceeds are given back to the community primarily through donations. So you can go ahead and continue to donate however you were donating before, but no brats for you, sadly.
That's got to be such a disappointing thing. Because I, for one, love a brat and never had Sheboygan brats, but I would be mad if I was like used to it, and then they're just like, nope, we're gonna cut it out for blah 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 reason. Doesn't matter what the reason is. We want the brats, okay?
Right.
We want the
Right.
brats.
I'll bring it back a little bit. I'm pretty sure you can still find your brats. There's just not going to be a brat day. Sheboygan is known for
I
their
want the day.
brats.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
want the day.
okay, you want the days. Okay.
I
I
want the
get it. I
days.
get it. With that
Come
being
on.
said, is there something kind of similar like in Little Rock? Like I'm thinking of Meriden, where my hometown is, and they have what they call the Daffodil Festival. Yes, there are daffodils. Do you get to pick them? No, leave them in the ground. Do not touch them. But we are there to celebrate the daffodils. It's Meriden's flower. It's a
Yeah,
festival. It's a party.
sure.
It's the happening.
Okay.
So if that were to be canceled, I feel like this might be the equivalent of that. Maybe. Not sure, but
So we used to have something called Riverfest, and don't give me the line because for a while they had canceled it. I think they're trying to bring it back. I can't remember, but I know I had stopped going because it just it was always very crowded because it was just a very popular event. It always happened in the hottest part of summer. Traffic was always terrible, and so I kind of stopped going. But when it got canceled, I was just like a lot more upset than I should have been for someone who stopped going to Riverfest, you know? So
yes.
I don't know, because it's like a staple. It was a staple of, the city culture, and like, what do you mean you're canceling it? Excuse me? Because it just didn't make sense. Now, again,
Right.
I can't even remember if they kept it canceled or if I'm just tripping. Doesn't really matter. But, like cause I quit going. But yeah,
Right.
like it hurts, it hurts, um, to
It's
not
hilarious
have
to
it
me.
there.
It's hilarious to me because I mean, I really do feel the same way you do, like about Riverfest. Like I feel that way about the Daffodil Fest because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people there. I did go when I was younger, and when I got older, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go. There's way too many people there. It's traffic, and but then if they
Yeah.
were to cancel it, then I'm like, what? No
Excuse
Daffodil
you?
Festival? I
Right.
wasn't going anyway, but there's no Daffodil Fest. Yeah, it's upsetting. So I
Exactly.
totally get it. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. Even though
I
you
appreciate
weren't
that.
planning on participating, you're upset that it's not there, so you can't
Yeah.
not participate. So
So
yeah.
now I can't participate for real. Like I have no choice now, and I want the choice to be able to participate. I
Hmm.
don't want it just taken from me, that's not what
Right.
I agreed to. So, you know,
It's how I feel
it's a
about
lose-lose
most.
situation.
Exactly. I feel the same way about most party invitations. Like I want to be invited, but I don't want to go. So
Exactly, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. That's exactly the way to put it. I don't necessarily want to go, but don't you dare think about not inviting me. That's not
Right.
what,
Because
no, invite me.
leave it leave it to me to decide if I actually want
Exactly,
to attend. Okay. And
exactly.
I'm gonna make an appearance and then I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
if
that might happen. We'll see. We don't know yet.
you're right. Did you see me at Bratfest? Did you see me at Riverfest? You might have. You might have saw a picture, me, looking at the river, and then I left. See, but I was there. I just need
But
at
that
least
counts.
one or two pictures, just to prove I was in the number. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
mhm,
I was there. I showed my face. I had a great time for those 5 minutes I was there. And then I'm out.
right. I because that's always been my ideal plan is just to basically photobomb a bunch of like people posing for pictures or just be in the crowd, but just for a good like 5 minutes and then
Right.
no
Then
longer,
dip out.
you know,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh no,
I
he's
get
there.
it.
And then they show me pictures like 5 years later, like, yeah, you were there, weren't you? I'm like, I was. I don't remember
Yeah.
being there, but yeah, I was there.
Oh, you got picture evidence? Yeah, yeah. See, that's me right there. I was there. I
Mm-hmm.
was there.
Yeah, just make sure you tag me on Facebook, which again, I'm not on Facebook. Well, I am, but I just show up in other people's pictures like he's everywhere. I'm like, yeah, that's how I roll. So with that being said, like I had a thought and then it just disappeared just that quickly, just like me
I
being
hate
at a
when that
party. So
happens. Yep.
I know it's just the thoughts are there and they're gone. But I guess I'll just have to move on because I don't remember what that had to do with anything.
It's that
And
old age again.
I mean, just pull up a rocking chair. I will
Yeah.
say this.
Yep.
This is not part of my notes. We've been apartment shopping or hunting, if you will. I don't know which term you like better. Hunting is a little more violent, I suppose, because we find one, we stab it. So we go apartment seeking, and
There you
some
go.
of them, right, they on the signage doesn't always make it clear exactly what kind of a living establishment this is.
Hmm.
And you don't find out until you get to maybe the main entrance and then you see a bunch of the elder generation in their little wheelie chairs. And it's not
Uh-huh.
necessarily
Ah,
wheelchairs.
yeah.
Yeah. They're walkers or little sit and stool things. And
Hmm.
what once you see a line of those out by the front door, it kind of gives you the hint like, okay, this is
Not a place
not
for
on a
uh folks who don't
right,
need these devices.
right. So I just wish that the signage was a little clearer that this is a senior living community or
Hmm.
um, something to that effect. Because
Yeah.
this actually we had such signage at a different place we were looking at, and I was wondering why it never showed up in any of the searches I was doing until I drove up to it myself and I saw the sign like, oh, this these houses are for like 65 and up. I'm like, oh, that is why I cannot find it on here, and is why we are turning around immediately. Because this they don't want us here because we are too
Yeah,
young.
that's right. Well, but
Even
I
though
actually have, you may, seriously speaking, you may actually want to look into um staying there anyway, because I know a couple people who have stayed at, you know, not exactly like in a senior home, but like in an area that's designated or kind of set aside for elderly folks. And,
Hmm.
if you get the right location, sometimes they'll let you stay there even if you're not of a certain age.
Mm.
I think a lot of it has to do with um, the landlord and making sure that, well, them making sure that the younger person knows what's up, knows not to be out loud and rowdy, because this is the community that they're trying to um, like be in, which is really quiet, really low
Hmm.
key. But I think if you get the right person, the right landlord, they may work with you and allow you to
Mm.
stay there. So don't discount it just because it is, you know, advertised or meant to be, for older folks, because they may work with you.
Mm. Well, I do
I don't
thank you
know.
for that bit of knowledge, because granted, the only two places we looked at, I'm fine with not living there because one of them was a legit apartment building, and I
Hmm.
don't want to bother. I'm good. Like, let's not let's not do that. We were actually just curious. We had no idea what those buildings were until we drove up closer and saw like,
Hmm.
oh, that's why. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're good. But I do thank you for that information because it could come in handy later down the road. Well, maybe not too
Yeah.
far, other than community living,
Or maybe
or
someone who's listening might be interested. I don't know. You never know.
exact right. And for me, my concern would be the littlest one that we have, and he's rambunctious and
Yeah.
loud. I'm like, I don't want
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I don't want to bring that
That might be
around
an
to
issue.
just right, right, right. So if you don't have any little rambunctious little things running around,
Buggers.
then you, yeah, you should be fine. Should be fine. Maybe, depending on the landlord, like what Courtney said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of old people and young people, one of the bigger topics I wanted to tackle on this episode was death and taxes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get that dramatic, but
So dramatic.
that's how I kind of wrote it out. So let me back up a little bit. A couple weeks ago, my church had a finances class. So it was more like a introduction to like budgeting and how to finance properly.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
I love classes
and it
like that.
was it was nice. I would say that I think I'm ready for the next class because this class really just kind of showed me that I'm on the right track, that I do have a
Hmm.
budget. I know how to, I'm aware of like where most of every little penny goes. Some of it
Hmm.
is taken away from me by apps that I use, which I can talk about later. And I've talked about before in this podcast, but not in a long time.
Hmm.
And this first class was really just an introduction to all of that
Yeah.
because there are people that like myself that had more questions like, okay, so I know all of this. Like this isn't really too new. What I need to know are things that I wish that was taught in school. And those are things such as, I mean, budgeting should be something that's taught in school. And again,
Yeah.
I don't know if any of these things are taught now because we've been out of school since 1910, so I don't know. Um,
At least. Yeah.
at least. So budgeting, writing checks, even though like who uses checks anymore, but they exist because
They still
I mean we
exist. Yep.
receive them. Yeah.
Yep.
So writing checks, retirement, as we just discussed, where you could live when you retire, but like
Hmm.
saving for retirement or even
Hmm.
401ks. And is there a
Hmm.
401j or 402k? I don't know these things. Why is it called that? What does it do? What's an Roth IRA? Who is
Hmm.
IRA? Why does this exist? These are questions that I would hope that we could get to, like if they do another financial class like this. I mean, I can probably also find these answers on YouTube, or we can even do a segment one day where because I've
Hmm.
been really trying to find a reason to come up with a explain it to me like I'm five segment, so we can like jump into things like this because I don't know. And like I'm a grown adult person, and there are grown adult issues such as 401ks and Roth IRAs, and I don't know anything about them, and I feel like I should. And I'm having other peers ask me, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I should know, and I need an adult. I need an adultier adult. I think that might have been a phrase that you might have said, maybe once upon a
Yeah,
time.
probably. That sounds
Yeah.
like something I would say.
Hmm. Yeah.
I would love to do something like that. I love that topic is of just adulting and life hacks and stuff like that and learning those things and talking about what works for me, what I've heard other people do, what may work for you. I love I love that kind of stuff. So I would love to if we did have something, do a segment or something. I'm definitely in.
Okay. Well, I'll put it in the notes for a future episode or even just something um supplementary, something we'll add maybe to some Patreon. But with
Hmm.
before I even jump into Patreon, I do want to spoiler alert, this will be my gratitude segment, so when we get to that. But there are definitely apps that have like helped me, especially recently with like a whole bunch of issues going on, things with
Hmm.
cars and the importance of having like an emergency savings
Hmm.
stashed. So apps like Digit, which is now called Opportune,
Okay.
but Digit I absolutely love. I still use it
Hmm.
today. I've been using it for
Hmm.
years. I've tried to get other people. Um, but again, it's not called Digit anymore. It's called Opportune, spelled
Opportune.
OP. Yeah. Hold on, let me spell it correctly because they spell it in a weird way. Yeah, they do. Okay. OPORTUN. So if you try to spell it the other way, you just would like opportunity? No, no, opportune.
Right. Okay. Hmm.
Um, Stash,
Branding, I
I also
guess, right?
use. Would you say?
I said branding, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, just you'll find us. We just have a few less letters. That's all. Um, Stash, I also use as well as Acorns. Those are more about investing, but you can also save money using those apps, and those are actually very helpful. But I definitely want to shine a light on Patreon because I do have a few patrons that have been patronizing or they've been supporting me for the last few months, and
Hmm.
it's not a lot, but it does add up, and I forget that it's there, which is why I've been making more content so people can go over there to go, check it out and be like, oh, okay, it's worth kind of supporting stuff that he does because he makes more stuff for us to enjoy. And yeah, I had one over there and I realized like, oh wow, I got, a nice little stash saved over here, and I absolutely needed it. A bit of a related segue. Tow trucks and towing and getting your car taken to a lot that you need to pay to get it out. All of it is a racket. It's a scam. And I wish that I had a way in so I could profit off of that too.
Okay. Do give us more details. Like, why is
Okay.
it a scam and why do you want to get in on it?
Well, because my wife's car had to, well, apparently it was incorrect. They found error with it. They found fault with it. So they towed it away out of our parking lot and into their their lots to be released. To be released, I think for like one day after it's already and it was already the end of the day. So we came back and we're like, oh my God, we got to get the car and we can't get it till tomorrow because they're already closed. So it already had like an overnight fee. And I think each day that it's there was like $25. So I couldn't get it
Cute.
Friday, but so I was like, I'll get it Saturday. But
Hmm.
getting it released on Saturday, there was like an extra fee because it was off hours or after hours.
Are you serious?
So,
Even
yes,
though they were open.
even though they were
What?
open, it was after hours. So, in total, it cost me like $300 to get the car out of the lot. And then to get it towed, because I had to get it towed elsewhere, that was an additional, let's see, I thought it was going to be like $30, but it ended up being an additional $50. So just towing fees.
Ew.
And I mean, I had AAA,
Yeah.
but I don't have I don't have AAA Gold. AAA Gold will allow you to tow anywhere like up to 100 miles. But if you have the regular basic AAA, you only get 5 miles. I needed to go somewhere that was 10
Which,
miles.
oh
Hmm?
my goodness. I said, that's how they got you.
That's how they got me. And they got me even more because they didn't take the route I thought they were going to take. And they ended up going like maybe like 12 miles, which meant
Are you
each
kidding me?
mile,
So
yeah,
they did,
each mile was like
they got more
another
money.
5. Yes, exactly. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I ended up spending more than I intended to get the car out. But I say all that to say that, I mean, we're not broke. We've got money, but like I didn't have money on hand. Oh, the other insult to injury is that both of these establishments needed cash because of their whatever reasons. Oh, either broke the machine that reads cards is broken, and
Uh,
uh,
are you serious?
I am
They
dead
busting
serious.
heads like that and can't even take it via card? Mm, mm, mm.
Nope, because their machine was broken, or like it's after hours, or I don't know, they work the buttons. I don't know. So had to give them cash to get this thing out. And the thing about some bank transfers, like, because I had money in one account, but it wouldn't arrive in the account I needed it in
Yeah,
until like
right.
Monday or
On time.
Tuesday. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
thanks to Patreon, I was able to take the money from there, send it straight to like the account that I needed it, all within a matter of minutes. And I really thank my patrons for donating, basically for supporting me through
Yeah,
that, because
yeah.
I was able to do what I needed to do over the weekend and, not
Thank
be
you,
like,
patrons.
yes. So I wasn't completely butthurt. I was just a little bit, just not, completely, because these people, I mean, they were nice. It was just at the same time, why? It's raining. It's raining hard. You see me looking all sad and,
Oh
you know,
no. Wow. Bless your
uh,
heart. That sounds like a
yeah.
horrible, horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but I mean, we got through it, and it's all good. I mean, that was a couple weekends ago. I'm just saying that that's what happened, and I want to thank the patrons for basically bailing me out, because that really kind of came through and helped in a big way. So, in case you're ever wondering, I mean, not that people are, but in case they are, where does your money go? It helps me get my wife's car out of the lot. So that's where that went.
Nice.
So, I mean, other times I'm usually kind of uploading, not uploading, but updating my devices or software or, you know, stuff. I mean, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
shown, I know what, that's actually something I'll show on the Patreon too, is where I work at the church, like all the stuff that I've built over there. I know Kortney, I know I've
Mm-hmm.
showed you some of it before because you asked me questions about lighting. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really been my main focus lately, is to get all the lighting together and really hook it up over there. So I think that will be a patron feature that you guys will check out or will be able to see soon. And again, other stuff that's on Patreon right now. We did our first Indoob After Dark episode, so that's available. And more stuff to come, of course, as always. So I jumped the gun, did the recommendations a little earlier than I intended to. That being said, do you have any recommendations, Kortney, for tonight, this episode?
Uh, no recommendations immediately come to mind. Um, hmm. I've been
I'm
rewatching Schitt's
sorry.
Creek.
Oh, yes, I got to
Huh?
rewatch that too. I misspoke. I was supposed to say, what are you grateful for? Recommendations, I have something different.
Well, I
So
mean,
sorry.
now that I've started, you can't pull that
I
train
know,
back
I
in now that
know.
I've started.
I know. You've
So,
already started. You started talking about Schitt's Creek. Recommendation.
hmm
Is that what you're recommending? I'm sorry. You can go on.
geez, you're all over the place.
I
So,
am.
yes, I recommend Schitt's Creek. I love that show. Um, and it just gets better each time I watch it. So yeah, it's streaming on Hulu. I think that's the only place streaming. That's the only place
I
I
think
found at
so.
least. So, Hulu, it's there. Awesome. Now, I don't know if I told you about my nostalgia um run with Boy Meets World. Did we talk about that yet?
Yes, that was last episode's recommendation.
Well, I would like to recommend that again and uh, tell you to go and watch Boy Meets World. It's like TGIF all over again, and I have been loving it. I don't know what it is about that show. It's so corny. It's so it's so predictable, but it's perfect. And I don't know, sometimes after like a long day, long week or whatever, it's just good to kind of get back to the basics of just chill, easy TV. And so that has been that for me. And
It's like
yeah,
a
so I
it's like a
recommend
comforting blanket for you, I
it's like a
believe.
comforting blanket. Yes. And I haven't watched it in years, so I remember the episodes enough to be like, oh yeah, that's when so and so did this. But like I don't
Hmm.
remember it as well as I do The Office because I just watched it yesterday. So, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
I do,
So
I
I
do, I do.
recommend Schitt's Creek as well as Boy Meets World. They'll scratch different itches and but they both hit the spot, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then depending on who you're talking to, they'll probably be like, well, maybe you should just get some lotion. But I do know what you're talking about. And I can't
Exactly.
think of I can't think of a lubricating kind of show. But since I'm
Not a
already lost
lubricating
in
kind of
this,
show.
I know I'm already lost in this like analogy, this metaphor. So I'm just gonna move on and just glaze right over it with another show. This this wasn't meant to be my recommendation, but it was. Initially, I just couldn't remember it until you started talking about shows, specifically Schitt's Creek, because of the connection that it has. So bear with me here. No, it's not even that long of a bear, but it's basically father and son in it, or even parent and their child in real life, but also in a TV show, such as Schitt's
Mm-hmm.
Creek, and then a show like
Mm-hmm.
it's Lopez versus Lopez, I believe, which I've not watched. I don't know how that show is.
Yeah, it's his daughter, right?
I believe so. And
Like
then
his real life daughter.
there's right, which I would now want to check to make sure. But right now, or not right now, but really recently, a new show on Netflix called Unstable, which I really, really enjoyed. It was very, very funny.
Unstable. Okay.
Yes, it is starring Rob Lowe, and Perkins, but no,
Okay.
it's starring Rob Lowe
Right.
and his real life son, and they
Okay.
are playing father and son in this show too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick watch too. It's only like 8 episodes, I believe, so it should go through pretty quickly. And I think it's actually worth
And that
watching
one's
again. So yeah,
and that one's called Unstable.
yes.
Nice. Okay. Looking it up right
Now,
now.
okay, and now I'm like, wait, is it called Unstable? But yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
So that is my unofficial recommendation, but it is a recommendation. Definitely check it out. My real
Nice.
recommendation, this was a follow-up conversation that you and I were having, Kortney. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually going to let the rest of the world in on it. Now, please know I do not advocate um, drinking to get drunk or excessive drinking or alcoholism, any of that, because
Mm-hmm.
it's real out there. But for
Yeah.
those, who can drink socially,
Mm-hmm.
lambrusco, that is my recommendation.
Okay. Lambrusco.
It Yes. And this only came about because of the other show that I've recommended twice now, or maybe even 3 times, Grand Crew, which comes on NBC
Mm-hmm.
slash Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole segment in this one particular episode where these two characters keep ordering more Lambrusco because not because, well, it is because it's so good, but it's because it also makes you just feel good because it's a red fizzy wine and
Okay.
it's just nice on the palate. It's just like, ooh, I like this. It's a little sweet. So it's just got all the right notes going on. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is nice. I like this.
Is is
So,
Lambrusco on Netflix?
oh no, it's not a show. It's
It's
the
an
name
actual
of
drink. Oh,
it's
got
an
it. Okay.
actual drink. It's the type of
Got it.
wine.
Got it. Got it.
So
Got it.
like I legit had to ask someone where it was because it's not something that may necessarily be out like with all the Merlots or the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you probably would have to ask your local winery, like, hey, do you have any lambrusco? And then they would bring you to that area
Mm-hmm.
where they keep their lambrusco. And this particular place only had like two different brands, so I just went with one of them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like $7. And I mean, for me, I don't quite understand the price of things if it's more expensive because it's from Italy. Like this was from Italy. It says it was from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else on it was Italian. And it was by Mario, so he made it. And I don't know, but it tasted really good. So
Okay. I'm gonna have to try it.
yeah, I figured I'd definitely have to tell you about it because I know we discussed it prior and I never got back to you on how it was. And yeah, that is definitely a recommendation because it's fancy. So like
Mm-hmm.
yes, classy like Sterling. Sterling is classy, and I will drink this classy drink.
Yep.
You said
I
that in the
felt
least
like,
classiest way possible.
oh, I know, but I felt like the classiest lady at the place when Derek, the bartender, gave me the drink. Because he was describing it, and I was like, "Cause it has gin in," and I was like, "Oh, gin." Ugh. But he was like, "No, but this is like a hibiscus flavored." It was like it had a purple tint, so it was a little bit of a
Mm.
smell, I guess, sweeter, and I don't know, it just had a better approach than regular gin, which I don't like regular gin. Um,
Hmm.
and so he made it, and then I was watching him, and it was really cool, and he was like, "It has to be shaken, it can't be stirred." No, I'm sorry, it has to be stirred, it cannot be shaken. And so then he
Mm.
was telling me the reasons why, because apparently it could change like the flavor profile of the drink and it could bruise it. And I was like, "Well, you can bruise a drink? Okay, cool, cool, cool." And so
Hmm.
he explained, I was like, "So how do you know when it's done?" Like he was just sitting there talking the whole time. I'm like, "You're not timing it. I'm sure he's watching it, but I said, how do you even know it's done?" And so he was like, "Well, when it gets frosty on the outside of the glass, like when you touch it and your fingers can feel the frost, also it kind of feels different and it sounds different." I was like, "Wow, this guy knows a lot
Hmm.
of what he's doing." So it was
Hmm.
just a whole experience. And then I don't even know what the little twig herb thing it was that he lit on fire, but he lit it on fire and placed it on top and kind of clamped it to the side of the glass just as a presentation. It had nothing to do with the actual drink, but it was just the presentation of it. And
Mm.
it was such a like nice experience. It was really neat. But
Man,
yeah.
I loved that, and just that the drink itself had an experience, like it being made,
Yeah.
and almost as if it was like a magic trick, the way that you're describing
Yeah.
it, where he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
and yes, this is happening. Meanwhile, the
Mhm.
drink is preparing itself, and
Mhm.
it's
Yes. Mhm.
ah,
It was neat.
that
It was
was
very neat. And it
mm,
was a good drink. Like it had a interesting kick to it, and not in like a alcoholic kick, but like it 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 had a touch of a spice to it, even though like it tasted very sweet, but not like too sweet because I don't like sweeter drinks or sweeter cocktails.
mm,
But it had enough of a sweetness to it where it wasn't biting since it was a gin. But I guess the gin
mm,
part of it kind of hit the back of your throat, but not in like an abrasive way. It's so hard to explain. It's very smooth, and it had like a hit of a bite that was perfect. It was just perfect.
So I think one day what we'll do, like once we're fully grown ups and like just being able to do whatever we want whenever we feel like we do what we want to do, we will do things like this where we will go to bars and try drinks and then describe them the best that we can without using any of the
Mm-hmm.
terms that actual drinkers of like these fine liqueurs can describe them.
Right.
Although
Right.
you did call it neat, which is a way to prepare, I
Oh,
think,
yes. No.
gin, or is
It
it not gin?
I just said that I was explaining it in like it was neat to watch the process, not that it was made neat, because I have heard that process, or I've heard that term, of course, but I don't know it. So I don't know if it was neat. It didn't have any ice in it, but
Oh, is
but I
that what
think
makes it
neat
neat? Is
means
if it has
I
ice?
don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Because I
I
was gonna
actually
say,
don't know what
well
makes,
done.
yeah. No, no, no. I don't know what a drink, or I don't know what makes a drink neat or not. I'm not
Mm.
that cultured.
I know olives makes it dirty, so I know that part.
I didn't know that. Okay. Well, because I was even
Okay.
having a discussion with the bartender. I was like, I'm a wine drinker. I do spirits, I guess, but I don't know like a whole lot about them. I don't know the differences in a lot of stuff. And I mean, even with my wine uh hobby, I'm not like a connoisseur in that I know specific terms where I use terms like full bodied or robust. I mean, I don't know what that means for like on an actual, like I get it, but I don't know it for sure. So I said I like wine, but I couldn't like sit here and describe it to you or anything like that.
Mhm.
And so I was asking a bunch of questions about this particular drink just because he was very, open to it and he was making it right there in front of me. And I was like, okay, so tell me about this, and he did. So it was very,
Hmm.
very educational and entertaining at the same time.
That is my favorite thing because that is what I want this podcast to be known as is
Mhm.
educational and entertaining. More entertaining than educational, but sneaking, uh there's that what's that there's a word they combined. I think it's education or something. I don't know. But you
Education.
definitely did
Yeah,
not education. Yeah. You did
I think
not
so.
have
Yeah.
a neat drink. And I will tell you why you didn't have a neat drink because when you order a liquor neat, it means that you want a shot of liquor poured straight from the bottle into a glass and served it at room temperature. So it's got nothing else in it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just so if you just had like a little shot of gin, just
Then
gin,
that would be
then
neat.
you'd have a gin neat. Yes.
See,
But
that's
that's not what you
fancy.
had. You
Most
yeah.
people just say I need a shot of gin or I need a shot of tequila. Like, just
Yeah.
give it like that. I don't know.
hmm Or like you would prefer me to order a red wine. You want me to order it neat. So yeah.
But it's not a shot. So I think it has to be a
It's
shot, right? Or it just
well,
has to be straight
I
out
think
the
it
bottle.
yeah, a neat drink wouldn't be shaken or stirred with ice, poured over ice, or mixed with anything. Think of it as an
Hmm.
uncluttered, tidy drink. Oh, maybe it would have to be a shot, I guess. And it has to be a liqueur, so that doesn't include wine.
Oh,
Wine is its own thing.
or or a spirit, I guess, because spirits and liqueurs are different, right?
True,
I don't know.
true. So we could still be misspeaking, but hey, we're learning. So leave us alone. But don't. You contact us because no one contacts me. Please contact me. But no, yes. Indoob at indoobpod at gmail.com. Yeah, that's the email address. Yes. So if you have insight, you're a bartender or you are a drink aficionado and you know these terms and what they mean, you can, I will happily take correction. We will read it here next episode and
Hmm.
we'll get our facts straight. But that's it for um, Drankin 101. That's spelled DRANKIN apostrophe. So,
That's
yeah.
right.
hmm So I said I was, now we're moving back and from the drinks and we're going back to gratefulness. I was grateful for Patreon and all the people that support. What are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for my hubs. I love him.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
I know I've mentioned him before, of course, but I'm just grateful for him. And like we recently had a little bit of I don't want to call it an argument, but had a little bit of a hiccup, I guess.
oh,
And
yeah, I
so
know the term. It's a heated fellowship.
I like that. Like that. But see, heated fellowship could be a term better reserved for indoob after dark. So,
You would think that,
hmm.
but then we could say it's a spicy fellowship.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. So no, in this case, I'm not speaking of a spicy fellowship. I am speaking of a heated fellowship.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, and so proud of both of us because we addressed it and if one of us got a little too heated, we would correct it and speak like in a more civil tone. And it you
Mm.
know, it was a civil discussion overall. And so and so even now this happened last week, but even now we're like still working through it and still talking about it and still figuring out how to best communicate with one another and meet each other where we are and compromise where needed. And I don't know, I'm very proud of both of us for um being in a situation that is not awesome, but we're not like giving up on it. We're not giving up on each other. And it just, like we were talking about part of the topic today, and it's clear that both of us really want to accommodate the other. We want the other to be happy, and um, we want to make our home as peaceful as possible. And so, and we both feel like that, like because nobody is wrong or I guess right. We're both right. Nobody's wrong, I guess. So,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
just finding that middle ground, finding that happy medium is what we're working on, and it does take a little bit of work, but we're working on it. And so, I don't know, just grateful for him. We had a great time in Eureka Springs. He made me dinner and breakfast today because we're both off. So just, I don't know.
Oh.
I know, right? Because food is definitely my love language, and he knows that. So he's, laying it on
Mm-hmm.
thick, and I love that for me.
I mean,
But
breakfast and dinner, like, dude,
I know,
you're making
I
other husbands
know,
look bad. Like,
I
calm down.
know. Well, he's off, and he's just like he knows that I love it, so it just kind of works out. But I don't know. I'm just
Mm.
even if he hadn't done that, I'm just grateful for him and grateful that we're able to talk things through for better or worse.
And that is the most important thing. Like, that's something that my parents have told me long before
Hmm.
Ashley even came around, saying how important communication is. And it definitely sounds like that's what you guys are doing, which is great. It's like the number one thing. Like, I don't think I could deal with not talking to my helpmate, my partner, and just talking about
Yeah,
everything, every little thing too. Just like,
yeah.
see that wrinkle in that shirt? Get it out, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just this fact that we're talking about it. From the serious to the I don't know, the silly. I can't think of the other word. I was just the non important thing. But we
Mundane.
talk about everything. Mundane. Yes, that word works. So we and that's important, and it makes it so much easier to just bring up those difficult topics, the things you don't really
Hmm.
want to talk about, but you need to.
Hmm.
And then it's not
Hmm.
so bad afterwards because you're like, okay, so it's addressed. The so we'll just handle it. And it may not be handled overnight, but at least we're discussing it. I mean,
Exactly.
Ashley's car situation, that was a difficult weekend, honestly. But obviously we had to discuss it and how we were going to move forward. And yeah, so but yes, kudos to you both. And I guess good job, Daniel, making Kortney breakfast and dinner,
Yep.
making the rest of us husbands be like, what are you doing? I jest, of
Yep.
course. I'm kidding because I mean we
Sure,
kind of
sure.
swap off. We swap off when it comes to making meals. If I'm home, I'll definitely
Hmm.
make breakfast, and Friday nights we make breakfast for dinner. So that's our thing
Yeah.
here
Nice.
at the at this household. So if should you ever be in town in Connecticut sometime soon, Kortney, this actually invitation is just for you, not for any listener. We don't invite just
Gotcha.
yeah.
Not just anybody. Hmm.
Right. So yes, you'd be either getting pancakes or French toast or eggs, bacon, sausage, kielbasa, whatever we have, or whatever you want. We'll go out and get it. So we can so I can make it and whip it up for you. So because breakfast is my specialty. So
Nice. And I love me some breakfast. I love me some breakfast.
sorry, you got a
I
little
love it.
muffled. I literally didn't hear what you just said.
Oh my gosh. I said I love me some breakfast. And then I repeated it like twice.
Oh, okay. Maybe your voice got really low because it just disappeared. I'm like, what? You love what? As I'm trying to copiously take notes to be ready.
Hmm.
So, because again, I'm trying to prepare stuff for when you come to Connecticut, when you come to Connecticut, when you come
Yeah.
to see repetition helps. It helps get in the psyche.
Thank
So
you.
that way,
Thank you.
next thing you know, oh, that's what's going to happen. You're going to start getting like ads popping up on your phone or whenever you're scrolling the interwebs, and it'll be plane tickets to Connecticut, to Hartford or to Bradley Airport, because that's where the airport is. So, and you just start, your phone is going to start trying to get you to come.
I'm sure It's happening right now as we speak, literally as we speak.
Great. I cannot wait. So with that, and I'm assuming you're still going to be on like social media hiatus. Are you just did you want to shout out anything
Child,
or to be
nope,
found?
nope.
Okay,
We are still on hiatus over here.
gotcha. And I mean, you're not missing much. I will say Twitter has, I mean, it's not a complete dumpster fire, but there is a thing that is now happening that I can't quite, like, I'm even losing words. They increase the how many characters you can tweet at a time. I don't know
Again,
if
so
you're
it's
aware
not
of that.
240? No, of course
It's
not.
not 240. No, it's at this point you can tweet, or rather, let me put it this way. I went to somebody's like Twitter page or whatever, and then it has this
Hmm.
little space now that says show more. And then a
Oh, I
whole
saw that. Yeah.
like a like a chapter from a Bible from the Bible came out. I'm like,
Oh
this is
no.
too much. I who's gonna
Wow.
I need a too long didn't read version of this, or I don't know, a 240 tweet character tweet. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's a bit much. Bit
no,
much.
a
Well,
bit,
and have
a
you
bit.
heard that your favorite CEO billionaire has the humor of a 12-year-old child and
Um,
has an obsession with boobs, which, who doesn't, right? But
right, right.
there's a time and a place,
Hmm.
and what he did to the sign in, I think, San Francisco. You heard about that?
I'm not sure, but does this need to be Twitter After Dark too? Because I mean, I
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it
I
could
don't know
be
where you're
Twitter After
going.
Dark. Well, it may be Twitter After Dark, so I'll save it. But basically, he's uh a booty face, um, and has the humor of a 12-year-old, and like he's the guy that's running the company, which is the part that I'm just like, what?
Mhm.
Um, I haven't been on Twitter in a while. I mean, I went not long ago, but it's not somewhere I frequent, and I don't miss it. I miss my
Yeah,
friends,
right.
but I
That
don't
I
miss the
miss.
atmosphere. Yeah.
As the fallen Kanye West once poetically said, no one man should have all that power. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's. I mean, he's done some other things too. Like at one point, the Twitter icon was the Doge coin with the little Doge dog thing. So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
happened at one point, but it's now back to Twitter
Hmm.
again. So yeah, and I too,
Did
I
they
don't
do that
really
on purpose?
he did it on purpose. Like I think it was supposed to be some kind of joke. Other people thought like, is this a really late April Fool's joke? Because why? So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Huh. What
He's
a
an odd
weirdo.
one. He really is. And
You
I
say it
also like you.
much better than I do. I'm just like, he's such a weirdo. You're like, he's very strange.
He's an odd duck. I think as someone or an odd bird. There's some phrase someone had said. I'm like, I need to hang on to that one, and I think it might have been like he's an odd duck or an odd bird. I don't know. It was just something about that phrase.
Yeah.
It encapsulates him so much. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
he's yeah. I mean, there's many other things, but we will. I don't know. We'll maybe take a little deep dive into his eccentricities another day because I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't even know where to begin or where to end.
Yeah.
So we're just going to move on from that. And I too, I like you. I am not necessarily on Twitter, but I am definitely on the Black Twitter app. Still going strong.
Hmm.
Please support that too if you
Hmm.
can. But you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but just support the app if you are on it. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm over there at indoob. Thank you for stopping by, pressing play. Remember to tell the folks that you love them, and all that good mushy stuff. Remember to wash your hands, your feet, the legs, your legs, not the legs, because
Hmm.
don't touch other
Yeah.
people unless they're your
Yeah.
children. That's
Consent.
different. You can,
Or
yes,
consent.
yes, please consent, consent, consent. Don't be a weirdo like Elon Musk or the Dalai Lama. Not going to talk about that. We're going to move on.
Oh, we're moving
Remember,
on.
we're moving on. Remember to tip your waitresses and say goodnight to your kids. I forgot the rest of my saying. You've been listening to the Indoob podcast. Thank you so much for stopping by and pressing play. And remember, if the world didn't suck henceforth and forevermore, we all said amen. Oops, you said amen.
Amen. We'd all fall off if the world didn't suck, though.
Yes, that's what I forgot too. I got so off. It's Elon Musk's fault. I'm blaming him.
It's literally his fault. It's his fault.
Screwed up everything. And his dang satellites messing up the sky. Make me think there's UFOs, but yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much for listening to the Indoob podcast. To get more Indoob in your life, check out indoob.com, patreon.com/indoob, and of course, merch over at TeePublic. Email us your Ask Indoob questions, comments, or just say hi at indoobpod@gmail.com. Linky dinks in the descripts. Please rate, comment, follow, subscribe, and hashtag tell your friends. Until next time.